It's the final word phone in here on talkSPORT with me, Majestic, and experienced Premier League manager Alan Pardew. And as we requested, we've got so many WhatsApp voice notes come through. I can see them in real time come through. Thank you very much. If you're just hearing me thinking, what is he talking about? We've asked for your WhatsApp voice notes, and Pardew's thrown a great one out there this week for shout of player of the season. 7 games to go. Player of the season. We were talking during the break about standout player of the season. It's no one stands out. Like, you got to say Salah for the stats alone, what he's done this season, and they're going to win the league probably, right?
Yeah, I would definitely, prior, we go back to January, February, 100%. He was absolutely running away with it. But I don't know, whether when we get to the end of the season, is he going to be the man that we all go, yeah, definitely? Or is it going to be somebody else? Because we've got some big games coming up. We've got Champions League, quarterfinals, and possibly final for one of our clubs. We got the FA Cup to come, etc., etc. He's had a great season for Palace. Yeah. I can think of Rodgers at Aston Villa, who's been terrific. Yeah. Dan Burn, who definitely had Player of the Week. Yeah. When he got the England jersey and won the League Cup. So it's an interesting one. I think it's one that'll get debated before the end of the season. The Young Player of the Year is tough too. Yeah. Who would you go for Young Player of the Year? Well, again, if you was going for the first half season, it'd be Palmer all day. But he's come off it a little bit. Yeah. He's had a couple of injuries, and the boy at Villa, I've been very, very impressed with him. Rodgers, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. And in terms of manager of the season, there's a few candidates probably. Yeah. Nuno's got to be up there. Well, Nuno gets him into the Champions League for sure. Nuno, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest manager. He will definitely win it, I think, if manager of the year, if he gets him into the Champions League. But then you can't look past on the salary. Yeah, as you say, you could also argue we don't know where these trophies are going to end up, do we? That's the thing. But the player of the year usually gets voted before the trophies are decided. Yeah. And manager of the year a little bit. Interesting one, isn't it? Or one of them does anyway. Here you go. Hi, gents. Player of the season, Morgan Rodgers. Big, but I'm a Villa fan, but otherwise some of those Nottingham Forest players must be top of the list. Hudson and Doy, of course, Gibbs, White, Marullo as well. Lallana, is it? I can't remember. That's from Daniel in Cape Town. Lots of messages coming in here as well. So many WhatsApp voice notes coming through. Shout to DJ Riot, aka Rich. He said, big up Madge and Pards. Absolutely love your show. I used to listen to Majestic's mixes and always liked Pards as a manager and guy. Oh, that's so right then. Good combo then, isn't it? Yeah, right. We're right there. The weird duo, it makes sense for him. Madge, can we have Creeping in the Dark on the show intro just one time? And Pards, if Ange fails, come to Spurs. Would you take Spurs? Oh, of course. As former player as well. Of course, yes. My legacy number 284, whatever it was. Waiting for you. 03717 223344. Let's go over to Dave, who's a Man United fan who's got an interesting take on the protest today. How are we, Dave?
Hi, mate. You okay?
Yeah, very well. What did you make of? First of all, the game was dull, wasn't it?
It wasn't great. It wasn't one for the for the history books, to be fair. But for me, I do see the progress. I know Amram spoke before the game, and Keane obviously hammered them a little bit. But we've held Arsenal, we've gone to Liverpool, we've gone to City. We're a poor team. Make no questions about. At least we can understand your shape a bit now. Yeah, I went to Forest, I went to Leicester. Obviously, I've had the season ticket for 12, 13 years at Old Trafford. And, 3 months ago, we were as poor as we've ever been. But like you said, you can see bits within games. You can see moments. You can see, structure and the shape, like you touched on earlier on as well, to be fair. So, it's not all doom and gloom. And I've heard a few of the listeners talking about the ownership. And, at clubs that Pards has managed, how, we had 1,200 staff members. That's not normal.
Yeah, that's a good point. Dave, that's a great point you make there. 1,200 members of staff. That's a lot of people.
How many were at West Ham or Newcastle or Palace? I'm not sure you'd know, but I don't think it would be anywhere near that figure. I'm pretty sure.
No, it wouldn't be. But none of those are the biggest clubs in the world. You are the biggest club in the world, so you're going to have a big staff. I just genuinely think that for sure, I'm sure there needed to be a cull of staff there, but in the manner that they've done it at times has been heavy-handed, and it's lacked empathy, and I think that's wrong.
No, I totally agree with that. But obviously, it is a business. You know, you have Tottenham fans who have also been on today saying all they want to win is a trophy. You know, we actually need a business model similar. I'm not saying similar to Tottenham in one sense, but, you know, we need structure. We need to not be losing £105 million a year. We're cutting players off the wage bill. We've shipped 3 out who are on big wages, probably 700-800 grand between Anthony, Sancho, Rashford. You know, that's a big saving every week, £600,000, isn't it?
Just a bit.
So they are doing it. We've had a core squad of probably 15, 16 players since January of first team. I think it was the FA Cup with Fulham. We only had Lindelof on the bench. The rest was made up of youth players. So we are cutting back off, you know, on and off the pitch as well. And
I think there's definitely plans to cut back. And interestingly, I thought that result of was it the under-18 side this week? Was it 13-2 or something? Yeah. So, you know, it's obviously that there's still talent coming through underneath. And this might be a time, of course. And this might be a time to elevate them and have another year of kind of not rebuilding, but like, you know, putting a few youngsters in, having a younger squad, and I think Man United fans would actually enjoy that.
Nail on the head. I think we're very good at getting behind. I mean, sometimes the press and the media do build them to knock them down, but, you know, as match-going fans, we love a local player. You know, we've got the records for however many thousand, you know, games that we've had a youth product in the squad. So, you know, that isn't, you know, such a bad thing to do. I do see, like I say, progress. And, you know, even with the season ticket prices, I've had it for 12, 13 years, as I said. It's gone up twice in that time. You know, if you think what the minimum wage was in 2013-14 versus what it is today, you know, it's gone up twice in that time. It's not a massive jump, you know, and I do see, it frustrates me, you know, seeing people that say tourists, they help fund the club. Of course they do. But that's what you need to make the money on. I've just been to Milan this weekend. And for a family of 4, it cost me €280 to go in the San Siro, which is falling down, to watch a very dull Inter Milan team. So actually, when you put it into context, I've done the same with PSG recently. You know, you said we're the biggest club in the world. We probably do need to look at finding ways to maximise revenue. And yes, the match-going fans, the season ticket holders, they're not the ones getting stung. It's the day trippers. It's the people who want to come and have a piece of the action, and they're willing to pay as they should be because, you know, we're Man United.
Absolutely. Brilliant call there from Dave, the Man United fan. Thank you very much. Called us on 03 717 22 33 Pards, I really enjoy your insight into football. You're always a great listener, and that's coming from a Sunderland fan of 37 years.
Wow.
Thanks for the 0-3, by the way. That said, do you think Sunderland have a good chance of coming up via the playoffs? We really need to, else our squad will be raided. That's from David in Bishop Auckland.
They've got some good young players there. You know, I think they've had a terrific season.
Yeah.
There's no reason. I mean, the other team in on the northeast there is obviously Middlesbrough, who are on a great run under Michael Carrick. You know, that
Blackburn Friday, didn't they?
Yeah, that championship is going to be really, really tight. You know, you look at it now. Bristol City are on a great run. Bristol City, Sunderland, Leeds. Will they miss out? My goodness me, that will be a massive blow. If Leeds don't get into the top 2, will they get through that playoffs? Well, you know, that's always difficult when you finish third. I finished third with with West Ham. And we got beat by Crystal Palace, who was on a great run, like Bristol City, who was 6th in the final. You know, it's not a given that the third best team goes through the playoffs.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.